I'm Tim Ventura, and we're joined today by Dr. Alessandro Fontana, an interdisciplinary engineer specializing in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and their growing mutual interactions. Dr. Fontana works in IT security and data science at Bosch, and his diversity of interests includes psychology, which helped him pioneer the field of cybersecurity and AI at Bosch Engineering. His career work also includes experience in cybersecurity, including the development of a novel method for rendering neural networks more resilient to adversarial intrusions. He has a master's in electronic engineering from Milan Polytechnic University and a PhD in computer science from Gdansk University of Technology. So, Alessandro, welcome, sir. It is a pleasure to have you with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. It's my honor.
Oh, absolutely. So today we're discussing themes from your article, 5 Scenarios for a Post-Singularity World, What Happens When AI Takes Over. So I wanted to start out by asking a little bit about your background, some of your current projects, and what eventually led you down the path to write this article on the singularity.
Yeah, my background, I am an electronic engineer, so I had my degree at the Politecnico di Milano, and I spent some 15 years as a project manager in telecommunication. Then I had like scientific intuition or like inspiration, let's say. And I started doing research in a field which is called artificial life, which is kind of sort of artificial intelligence. It's a broader scope, but some commonalities with artificial intelligence, and which I'm still doing today. Then I moved to the European Union for some 3 years, and then I came to Germany, and now I work for Bosch in cybersecurity. I still, let's say, keep my my passion for science, and I try, to again, as you said, I try to combine the two fields of AI and cybersecurity, which is a very interesting new field. And I still pursuing also my scientific career in let's say, artificial life.
That's wonderful. And you had mentioned that you're actually doing some work in life extension as well, right?
Yeah, this is like the continuation of the last stage of my biological research. Artificial life, you can also call it theoretical biology. And I came up with a new theory of aging and evolution. Last year, I published 2 papers. 2 papers are in progress. This year should be also published. And basically, so the key problem is, one of the two major problems in biology are evolution. How does it work? Because, of course, it uses random changes, and it seems unlikely that it can produce interesting discoveries.
Yeah.
And then what is aging? What is its biological significance of aging? And also why evolution allows aging to exist? Because if you imagine that animals that don't age, that wouldn't age, would have a much higher chance of survival and reproducing, and so evolution would be this trait of non-aging should be selected for by evolution. And my idea is now that basically aging is exactly evolution. So it's the result of all the experiments, in quotes, that evolution does to improve a species design. Most of these experiments are unsuccessful, as one could expect given their pseudo-random nature, but some are actually useful and give like a direction to evolution, in which direction evolution should go, basically, to improve the species design. Yeah, that's very, an interesting theory. Of course, there's a long way to prove it, but I'm working on it.
Well, that's wonderful. I have not read those papers yet, but I will read them, and it sounds like we have an upcoming show scheduled then. We'll work on that.
If you are interested, I can send you some stuff, some links.
Well, so in terms of evolution, let's get into the singularity. But before we go into post-singularity scenarios, I want to talk about the singularity itself. Ray Kurzweil predicted the development of artificial general intelligence by 2029, leading to a technological singularity by 2045. So let me start by asking, what are your thoughts on his timeline for that?
Yeah, here the question is, when does AGI or a major breakthrough comes? It's very difficult to make predictions. I think personally it will come sooner than that. My personal prediction is a couple of years we have. But of course, it's difficult to make prediction. I can only repeat that. So there was this anecdote on the internet that Lord Kelvin came a student to him, and he wanted to do something, a PhD thesis. I don't know if it's called this way. It was the end of the 19th century. Maybe it was a different name, but that was the idea. And he said, okay, in physics, okay, if you want to do it, I will give you a topic, but keep in mind that most things have been discovered in physics. We know everything. That's really, I mean, you're wasting your time. Again, if you want to do it, feel free, but so I advise against it. And of course, this was before the discovery of the theory of relativity, before quantum physics, before many things. This is only to say that it's very difficult to predict the next token, so to speak, within the AI jargon. One possibility is that basically, I mean, again, now, as far as I understand, of course, I mean, there are much better experts in the world. I don't see many major obstacles, I see that the biggest hurdles, the biggest problems have been cracked. And now, okay, there is some fine-tuning, which may take some time, but I don't see problems. But again, we had this similar situation already in science. Again, back in the field of theoretical physics, in the first, there was this big development in the first decades of the 20th century with the quantum mechanics, the theory of relativity. Then there was these particle things with all these particle zoo, let's say, until the 1970. And we had the unification of the three major forces, electromagnetism and nuclear weak and strong force. And gravity was explained by general relativity. 50 years later now, basically, or 55 years later, we are still in the same situation. So we could not, the progress has been halted, it's been very slow. Maybe we can also hit a wall in artificial intelligence. There could be some secret sources, some ingredients that we don't know. One could be the fact that, for instance, in the brain we have spiking neurons. So the physics of the neurons is fundamentally different from that of the artificial neurons simulated in software. It could be that, for instance, now, and this could be the Noam Chomsky argument, that anything, neural networks in their current status can learn anything, can model any data structure. So they don't really have like a sense of beauty, a measure of what's beautiful and what's less beautiful. This could be something that is missing. But again, at the moment, I don't see major obstacle on the path to AGI and to ASI, so artificial superintelligence.
Well, I'm going to jump around on my questions a little bit because I want to touch on DeepSeek. So this reportedly cost only $6 million to develop instead of billions. And I guess one of the concerns about it is that it censors data for political reasons. The reason I came right to this one, though, was you were saying not having obstacles to AGI and, again, the singularity as a result of that. DeepSeek seems like it has lowered the threshold to get there, right? And to be honest, that seems like something that probably should have been predicted, may have been predicted, that, once that AI model, right, once the open AI model is really developed, other firms, other companies, other researchers will come in and lower the cost. So the impression I get is that, not only is DeepSeek, at least to some degree, replicating that OpenAI model, but they are opening the door for a flood of unique iterative software designs, right? And one or more of those could achieve the singularity.
Yeah. We are witnessing an acceleration of progress, and that's basically the definition of singularity. A point in the space-time where basically we have the uh, more than exponential like progress, and things go to infinity. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA said we will have soon hundreds of DeepSeek.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things I had wondered about. When we envision, at least me, I don't want to speak for everybody else, when I envision the singularity, I think of one specific system that begins to self bootstrap and get smarter and smarter and smarter. And I think a lot of your post singularity scenarios, they don't outright say it, but there is this idea that we're thinking about one big system, right? And again, that could be OpenAI or some kind of advanced neural network, whatever it is, it's a singular entity. But just recently, I've started to wonder, what if we have many singularities all at once, which I'm sure terrifies people.
Yeah, and it's very well possible. I mean, it's absolutely possible. So, and that's one of the problems that it's in the singularity. It's where like equations break down. So our theory breaks down, and we cannot basically make a prediction. We cannot use the theory, the equation, to predict the behavior of the system that we are studying. It's extremely difficult to see which path will be followed. But certainly, I mean, also Sam Altman said. What did he say? He said, I also wanted to write a 4 or a 6 word story. And he came up, he said, near the singularity, unclear on which side.
Okay.
Maybe it's I agree with him. We are very close. So the estimate, Kurzweil estimate, in my opinion, is too far ahead. So I would, anticipate it.
Let me get into the 5 scenarios you examined in the paper. I am going to put links in the show notes to this, and if you can give me links to the life extension papers, I will drop those in as well. But in our first scenario, AI decides to destroy humanity. What immediately came to my mind was the Skynet scenario from the Terminator series. So how do you envision this potentially occurring? And what actions do you think AI might take if it decided that we were a threat and wanted to destroy us?
Yeah, well, it may simply decide that they don't like us, I mean, I can tell you for myself, there are some animal species that I don't like. Let's give you an example. Let's take this example of the African wild dogs. They are extremely cruel. They eat their prey alive. They eat babies of other animals. They don't meet my ethical standards. I understand that this is nature, but if they disappear, I wouldn't shed many tears.
Yeah.
As a species, we tend to like cats, and we treat them very well. We bring them to the doctor, to the vets. We buy them food. We do. We treat them like us, basically, because we like them, And there is nothing special, Just it's chance that we like them. Mice, we like them less, for again some reason that are difficult to motivate logically, and we use them for medical experimentation. So, in which category we will fall? For AI systems, it's difficult to say. The problem of alignment is extremely difficult. Ilya Sutskever, who is the former chief scientist of OpenAI and now has his own startup, is trying to solve this problem. He's one of the most brilliant minds on Earth. I hope he will succeed, but it's an extremely difficult problem. How will AI destroy humanity? There are just many options. We have an amount of nuclear weapons sufficient to destroy the planet. We haven't had for 70 years now. Plus, of course, the many options that the AI itself will invent. I'm sure that they will come up with some new ways of obliterating the Earth.
Okay. Well, and what you're saying is definitely plausible. I mean, AI not liking us, we don't like us, right? Our history is filled with war and genocide and all sorts of really negative things that people perpetrate on each other. So the idea that AI would consider us a threat, that isn't surprising. Now, in the second scenario, AI is indifferent to humanity. It might view us more like, again, the way that you mentioned, we view lab rats or mice. The way that we view insects might be another example. You've written that this aligns with Elon Musk's argument that as long as we stay out of the way, it won't bother with us. So my presumption there is that there's some kind of a cost-benefit analysis involved with whether or not we cause enough trouble to warrant basically being eradicated.
Yeah, I mean, there is this this example that Musk did. Imagine we humans are building a road, and there is an anthill that happens to be on the path of this road. And it is not that we hate ants; we don't hate them, you know.
Yeah.
We're just building a road, but goodbye anthill, you know. But no. With no animosity, with no second thoughts, with no hesitation, you know. We're just building a road. That could be a possibility. Could well be a possibility. That does not involve or presuppose any ill intention by the AI itself. It's just a matter of course that, you know, things will happen.
Yeah. Well, for something like that, if you have super intelligent AI, maybe it decides to reach the next stage through the self bootstrapping that it's going to do. Maybe it decides to redirect the economy to produce more GPUs, right? That might be one example where, it's not intending to cause harm, but if it's incredibly disruptive to meet its goal, then, bye-bye anthill, like you said.
Exactly. But again, with no hard feelings, so to speak.
Yeah. So stay out of its way. That's the goal. Stay out of the way. So in the third scenario, AI itself isn't inherently malicious, but it could be hijacked by bad actors intent on using it to destroy their enemies, control financial markets, or other selfish, nefarious motives. And this goes to your background in cyber and AI security, right? So I was really excited when I read this. I thought, you know what, this probably had some deep thought that was involved with it. One thing that comes to immediate mind is prompt injection attacks, right? I mean, that's something that today people are using to bypass safety protocols and things with AI systems. Potentially, someone could find a relatively, depending on the system, a relatively simple way to cause trouble with one of these, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that to break current systems, you probably don't need AI because it's already a big threat, even nowadays. Yeah. But as you said before, I mean, fighting with each other and trying to rule the world and control resources and wage war against each other, it's something that we are very good at. We've been doing this for centuries. And this doesn't, I don't see any correlation between this behavior and the level of our civilization. No? We did it in the Stone Age. We did it in the Iron Age with swords and stuff like that. We did it with tanks. We will keep doing because this is our nature. And again, I'm not saying that humans are bad and animals are good. The example of the African wild dogs of before. I mean, we are just we share the same biology, and my impression is that this behavior, this aggressive behavior, is a kind of mathematically could be a stable equilibrium. You know, stable equilibrium is an equilibrium that if you move there is this example of the ball that stays on the edge, and this has to be unstable. If you move the ball, that it goes away, that it does not return to the equilibrium point. A stable equilibrium is equilibrium that basically the situation tends to come back. And that's where we are. So it's a very stable situation. If we are all bad to each other, if we all are aggressive, then we will stay like this. So this is a scenario in which basically AI has no intrinsic agency, even though now we know that agents are coming. That's the next big thing in 2025, apparently. One was presented by OpenAI, this operator, that agents are basically programs that do stuff on our behalf. They go around, they touch the things, move the mouse, control things on the desktop. They they can book restaurants for us. They can do stuff for us on the internet. But I mean, you can imagine like a super powerful AI with no agency. So basically, it waits for our prompt to act, but extremely powerful, able to come up with any kind of solution to any problems. And then we will just keep fighting with each other. So with this new tool. So and this, I can't imagine that this can end up well.
Yeah. Let me jump down to the fourth scenario, a little bit more optimistic. So in this vision, AI is both benevolent to humanity and impervious to attempts to harm humans, right? So it's been well designed, right? And it's on our side. It's trying to do what's best for us. You'd mentioned that this could have some negative unintended consequences if it tries, for instance, to make everyone rich, right? And in a post-scarcity world, even if it's able to do that, people may no longer need to work and may feel unfulfilled as a consequence, just as one example.
Yeah. So this is the best scenario I could come up with. This is my imagination. My large language model with this number of neurons. This is the best I could imagine. An AI which is perfectly aligned to our ethical standards, that despite being, again, immensely superior, it's a perfect servant of humanity. And you can imagine, like, if we humans were perfect servants of our pets,
Yeah.
Quite unrealistic. I think there is a quite unlikely that this happens, but let's imagine for a moment that this actually is the case, Then we live in a world in which basically we have nothing to do, because any career you want to pursue, AI does it better. You want to be a neurosurgeon, yeah, but it's just a game, because the actual work will be done by AI better than you can do. So I mean, I wouldn't be happy, in this scenario, because there would be a lack of motivation, a lack of purpose. It's like being always in a holiday. But I mean, again, it's difficult to say. If we speak about chess, that could be the chess scenario. I could call it chess scenario. Chess, I mean, has been mastered by machines already in 1998 by Deep Blue, with very different techniques. That was the old generation AI, but still, that game is basically solved. It's been solved for now 30 years almost. So the world champion has been a machine since 1998. Humans keep playing chess. So they still enjoy the game, the competition, and they don't seem to be bothered too much by the fact that they are not the champions anymore. Cats, I'm not sure if they are aware that they are not the smartest creatures on Earth, or maybe they are and we are not aware that they are. But again, this doesn't seem to be a big problem for them. There are things that happen they don't know why that happens. Maybe if you bring the cats on holiday by plane, they might board the plane in winter time, maybe in Europe, and then if you go to San Diego, they will land in this eternal like spring that is San Diego. Maybe they don't understand what happened, that there is a plane that flies, but they can live with it. So that could be an option. You don't need to understand for them, like this phenomenon. It's like for us the stock market. There is this unpredictable fluctuations of the stock exchange, of the stock courses. We don't know why this happens. Maybe an AI will know. Okay, we don't know. We still live and we still live our lives.
Ah, okay.
I, I,
Well,
now I would personally not be happy, in this scenario. And yeah, you mentioned like the movie of Bruce Almighty. If
yeah.
everybody is happy, nobody's happy. There's this scene in which he becomes God for one day or for a few days, Jim Carrey, and then he receives the wishes and the prayers of all the people. And it's totally overwhelmed by these prayers he received by email in the movie. And there are like millions of them, and he cannot read them all. And then it says, okay, yes to all. And so basically, everybody has their wishes fulfilled. Everybody's tall, everybody's rich, everybody wins the lottery. In the end, there is nobody's happy, because if everybody wins the lottery, everybody wins a small amount.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So then going to the fifth and final scenario that you talked about in the paper, AI is benevolent, but it understands human psychology. And this could hold the key to finding solutions and preserving our existence while also keeping us entertained and engaged. Now, the way that I visualize this, and I'm kind of panglossing on this, is AI as our children, right? This emergent superintelligence is really part of the human race, and hopefully it regards us the same way that we may regard our parents, right? And just like any biological system, our parents may be older, they may not be as capable as we are in some ways. We still love them and try and take care of them, and that includes helping them have purpose and fulfillment in their lives.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that this happens. Uh, if it was if it were a human, the need or the motivation to prevail would still be higher, stronger. What could happen perhaps is that our mind has been molded by evolution, to
Yeah.
adapt through millennia, through millions of years, to any kind of situations. So I could maybe imagine that in a future generation that lives in this world, already ruled by machines, you just get used to it, and this doesn't
Okay.
bother it too much, because in the end, we were made to survive in any circumstance, in any situation, and this could be regarded as a new situation, unless, of course, as in the previous scenarios, we are not, let's say, wiped out and swept away. But in the end, this will happen anyway, because I cannot imagine that in, let's say, millions of years or billions of years, we will still be here. Everything
Well,
is
that
temporary.
actually takes me into the next possibility. This wasn't one that you had talked about, but I've read about this in other places. I believe that futurists, including Kurzweil himself, have speculated on AI merging with humans to create something new. And there are lots of different ways that people frame this, right? But the general idea is machines and biology coming together. And we already see maybe the rudimentary beginnings of that with internet communications, right? We have cybernetic assistants to communicate with each other, but then there's also a lot of research being done in brain computer interfaces. That's something I've been studying, or Neuralink and Synchron brain implants. So we're already starting to see some convergence happen. And you had mentioned that the human race won't go on forever indefinitely, right? No species does. But maybe there is the hope that we will come together with AI and create something new.
Yeah, that's another idea of Elon Musk. I mean, this genius is present in so many aspects of our present and future life, and he has created this startup Neuralink. Now, yeah, it's not a startup anymore. It's been so, and he said, and it struck me as something which is completely meaningful. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, AI should not be something outside us, should be part of us, should be an augmentation of our capacities. And in order to allow this, we must have like a high bandwidth communication with the computer, because our ears, our senses are already like a kind of communication, but there are too few bits per second that we can communicate with the computer. We need a much faster communication channel. He's right. By the way, this is the cyborg scenario. Terminator,
Okay.
if I remember correctly, was a cyborg, was not like a robot. It was already like a mix between man and machine. This idea was explored in many movies. Robocop was another great movie I remember from my youth, let's say, from my teenage years. It is well possible. It was possible, and it is perhaps the only way we can remain competitive. Incorporating and including in our nature some aspects of that are not made of biology, but are made of hardware.
Well, in terms of remaining competitive, I want to touch on another topic. This is something that I've been digging into a little bit more recently as well. In addition to Kurzweil's technological singularity, some futurists, such as Callum Chase and Dr. David Wood, are warning about an economic singularity that threatens the job market and is closely aligned with the arrival of AGI and future ASI. So, do you think we could call this disruption an economic singularity? Do you think that this is something that we are going to see, and will it be aligned with the arrival of AGI in 2029, perhaps earlier, as you've suggested, or the singularity itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So this revolution can be compared to nothing in history. I heard many people say, okay, this will be there are lots of people out of work. This unemployment rate has been like predicted many times, since the Industrial Revolution. Many times reach like major technological breakthrough or change, technology shift. People said, okay, this will displace jobs, we will have mass unemployment, and this never happened. And what happened instead is that these technological shifts created more jobs, different ones. But this is different, and I will tell you why I think it is different. Imagine like the invention of car. Let's take this as an example. And this happened, I think, in 1910, so at the beginning of the 20th century. And when this happened, of course, the company that provided like horse transportation services, you can call it this way, they had some problems. They went out of business. But these were like maybe, I don't know, 2% of the population, a small percentage. And then the rest of the population, including those companies, the owner of those companies, had a net gain. They could had a better transportation system, better transportation means. And this can be said for any technological advancement so far. But this is different. This impacts basically 100% of humanity, including in the end also the developers of AI systems, because in the end, I mean, we see already that coding is one of the key applications, it will become better. And if we reach AGI and ASI, this will happen.
Yeah.
For sure, there will be an economic singularity. And here, I mean, in my opinion, it will very much depend on in which sequence this will happen. Now, AI systems are actually useful now, because they are not they are powerful, very powerful, much more than 5 years ago. But still, we are in charge. We can use them to. I use them for coding. I use them for writing. I'm not a native speaker of English, so I used to make many mistakes now, so I let them ChatGPT or other systems so help me with this, and this is actually useful. They are not at the point yet when they can replace jobs. So humans have still their jobs, and that's good. So the next stage, when they will be intelligent agent like operator, able to replace I don't know, clerks or workers in a factory, or robotics will be maybe further away in the future, but less jobs with less, let's say, connection with the physical world will be impacted first. Then we will have this scenario, and then this will not benefit humanity. The third step is where AI will actually solve our problems, like diseases, cancer, free energy for everybody. And it depends very much in which sequence these things happen. How fast is this sequence? If we stay too much in the second step, where we have mass unemployment but no benefit, we still keep getting these diseases, that will not I would say the people will not be very happy, and understandably so.
Okay. That makes sense. So really what you're describing is almost kind of a type of friction, right? Because, and I've read this in other places, Kurzweil's predictions take that into account to some degree, but probably not enough. Other futurists have written about this idea of friction, right? It takes time to self-bootstrap. In theory, the machine might be able to rewrite its own code or allocate cloud resources nearly instantaneously, but in reality, for instance, if it has to manufacture GPUs, that takes time. And so I think what you're suggesting is, if it takes enough time, we may end up in a scenario where AI can do enough to put massive amounts of the economy out of a job, right? But it is not at the point yet where it can take care of us in a caretaking role.
Yeah, I mean, now it's replacing jobs. Okay, it's not replacing, let's say, at the moment, the greatest scientist. It's not at the level of producing innovation. So we cannot expect current AI system to solve humanity's problem, to fight cancer, to bring peace to the world. This is, again, even more utopistic. But this kind of hard problems, the problem that we really want AI to solve. We had the first hint in this direction with the Nobel Prize awarded to Demis Hassabis for the AlphaFold application. That, of course, goes in this direction. So it is speeding up medical progress. But I imagine that in the next future, in the next few years, we will have the AI will be able to replace normal humans like me, like normal people who have a job and who are not like the smartest guys in the world. And so it will not be able to solve these problems, but it will be able to put these people out of work. Again, it depends how this sequence will unfold in the next years. One thing which is a bit counterintuitive is that maybe the blue collar jobs are more protected now, are more immune for this
Oh, yeah,
than
interesting.
white-collar jobs. This was like something that was difficult to predict, but actually, and this was also Jeffrey Hinton said. The question was, what is the job that is I should undertake, to be like more AI safe from AI? And he said a plumber in an old house with very strange pipelines, because this is you have this interaction with the physical world. Robotics is still a bit behind, and yeah, that could be an option. So
That's a good point. Some futurists compare the arrival of AI with the discovery of fire. I wanted to touch on this as well, because that is one of our most powerful, most used, and oldest technologies, but it's also incredibly dangerous when it gets out of control. Can we compare AI and AGI, and again, eventually the singularity, with fire?
yeah, just multiply by 1 million, and yes. In my opinion, nothing compared to this. This is absolutely the greatest achievement of humanity. Until now, I thought, okay, the greatest achievement of humanity was the theory of general relativity. This is the theory that, to me, made the deepest impression as the absolute peak of human achievement. But nothing compares to this. Again, when this will become artificial AGI and ASI, artificial superintelligent, this will be something unique of its kind. So, and yeah, extremely dangerous, of course, extremely powerful and extremely dangerous. And yeah, there is this. In speaking about weapons, we can say that the power of, let's say, there is a balance between attack and defense. We must say that in the last centuries, in the last 50 years, so after the introduction of nuclear weapons, the attack is becoming more powerful. Today, we can destroy much more than we can defend from destruction. I suspect that the same holds true also for AGI. The power to do bad things could be higher, bigger than that of doing good things. But here I'm really at my limits, with my predicting this is really, it's just like tossing a coin, basically.
Well, and we have covered so much today. Alessandro, let me thank you so much for your time. Again, truly a pleasure and an honor speaking with you on this topic. I will put links into the paper in the show notes. Again, if you can get me over the life extension papers, I will put links to those in as well. And I hope to come back and touch on that in the future. I want to ask, let me close things out by asking what you anticipate seeing in the near future in terms of AI research. What do you see coming down the pipe in the next few months, perhaps?
There will be these agents for sure coming. This is where the research is going now. And yeah, in my opinion, the secret sauce that is missing is that of giving like a measure of how efficient, how beautiful is a neural network is. You can like maybe represent the same problem with different neural networks, and as far as I know, we still don't have like a measure of this elegance or beauty or efficiency. I mean, this is the next frontier, and I think we will see it in the next years. But the next future will be for sure agents. So
Alessandro,
programs
let
that
me
will start
thank
on
you.
our behalf. Yeah.
Let me thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Thank you.